All right, in this explainer, we are diving into a massive question. Why do so many of our most important relationships seem to fail? We're going to break down a really powerful way of looking at love that, honestly, might just change how you see, well, everything.
I mean, really think about it. You know how it goes. A relationship kicks off with this incredible spark, this amazing connection. But then, boom, real life happens. A fight, money problems, someone being selfish, and the whole thing just crumbles. Why does that keep happening?
You see, the root of the problem, according to our source material, is a total mismatch. We're dreaming of something that'll last a lifetime, a permanent home, but we're building it out of stuff that's designed to fade. It's pretty much a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at that shaky ground in building on sand. Then, we'll get into the four loves framework itself. After that, we'll pinpoint why our human loves often fail and introduce agape as the love that actually lasts. We'll finish up with a super simple patience test and your first step to make this real. Let's jump in.
So let's start with that core problem. What in the world does it mean to build a relationship on a foundation of sand?
Well, here's the thing. What our culture sells us as love is really just intense, temporary feelings. We're taught to chase that high, that passion, those butterfly in your stomach moments. But feelings, they're not stable. They change like the weather. And you can't build a lifelong house on a foundation that's constantly shifting under your feet. It's just not going to work.
So, to build on solid rock, we first have to understand what our building materials even are. The source texts we're looking at use some ancient Greek wisdom to lay out four totally distinct kinds of love.
Okay, so check this out. First up is eros. That's the passionate romantic stuff, the feeling that completely takes over in the honeymoon phase. Then you've got storge, which is that natural, easy affection you have for family. Third is philia. That's the deep friendship, the loyalty you have with your best friend. And finally, we have agape. This one's different. It's described as a totally selfless, unconditional love that's all about doing what's best for the other person.
So now that we have that framework, we can see the problem a little more clearly. Why do those first three, eros, storge, and philia, our natural human loves, why do they so often fall apart when they're left to their own devices?
Let's be honest, we are absolutely bombarded with the idea that eros, that romantic passion, is the ultimate prize. It's in every movie, every song. But when you chase that feeling by itself, it's not a foundation for anything real. It's an unstable emotion that can disappear just as fast as it showed up, and man, it can leave a lot of wreckage behind.
This quote from the story of Samson and Delilah just nails it. Delilah is saying the words, "I love you," but her heart, her actions, are all about her own gain. She's aiming to destroy him. It's a perfect, if tragic, example of someone using the language of eros without any of the actual commitment behind it.
And this slide really puts our ideals up against some harsh truths. We think intense eros is the goal, but when it's just passion with no real commitment, it can lead to devastating betrayal. We rely on a strong friendship, philia, to hold a marriage together, but even the tightest bonds can snap under pressure and lead to divorce. And even storge, that natural family bond, can curdle into hate. These loves are good things, don't get me wrong, but by themselves, they're just not enough.
Okay, so if those first three loves are like building on sand, what's the bedrock we can build on? The sources all point to one answer, the fourth type of love, agape.
Now, pay really close attention to the words here. Agape is not a feeling, it's an attitude. It's a choice you make, a dedication to the well-being of someone else, even when it costs you. It is, by its very definition, selfless.
So here's the absolute key takeaway. According to this framework, you just can't sustain a lifelong relationship on eros or philia alone. They are wonderful, essential parts of it, but they are not the foundation. Only agape is strong enough to weather all the storms that life is going to throw at you.
So what does this actually look like? Well, first, agape is a choice, an act of your will. It's not just some passing emotion. The sources describe it as a higher, more selfless form of love. It's the kind of love that forgives, that doesn't keep a running list of every single mistake. And this is a big one. It's often hard. It requires real sacrifice, putting someone else's good before your own. It is the exact opposite of being selfish.
Now, this all sounds pretty noble, but it can also feel a little up in the clouds, right? So how can we actually know if this agape love is at work in our own lives, in our own relationships?
Well, the source material gives us a surprisingly simple but incredibly profound little diagnostic tool. It's a way to measure whether this true lasting love is actually present.
And here it is. The ultimate test is patience. According to this way of thinking, patience isn't just some nice little virtue, it's one of the clearest signs of true love. If you want to know the quality of your love for someone, just look at the quality of your patience with them.
I mean, this quote from the source material just puts it out there, plain and simple. It argues that patience isn't an optional extra, it's the proof of agape in action. And so if you're impatient, that's a blinking red light that this deeper love is missing.
And this is what makes it so practical. A lack of agape isn't some vague failure. You can see it in what we do every day. It's that constant criticism. It's the nagging and complaining. It's that feeling of always trying to rush your partner. It's that little mental scorecard you keep of all their faults. At its heart, it's an unforgiving spirit. All of these are just symptoms of a relationship built on something other than agape.
So, we've walked through the problem, the framework, and the test. What do we do now? Where do we even start with all this?
This explainer doesn't just end with information, it ends with a challenge. Because love, in this view, is an action. It's a choice. So, your first step is a conscious decision. What is that one thing? That nagging complaint, that scorecard of faults, that one specific impatience that you can choose to let go of. Right now, today, to start building your relationships on a foundation that will actually last. That's the real question.